the individual will start from the members of the communities. Learn to trust security agencies with information.
What do you think that the state of emergency was meant to achieve?
The state of emergency, from my observation, was actually meant to take back that territory from these terrorists. I recall a particular incident which is unacceptable in terms of our nationhood, where people sack a town and fly strange flags. That postulation, it gives you a message. They are sending you a signal that henceforth this place is under whichever flag is flying there. And the moment you do that, you threaten our sovereignty as a country. And if you threaten our sovereignty as a country, it could be taken as an act of war. But a state of emergency was declared. Don't forget, a state of emergency is not an act of war. It starts from a state of emergency. From a state of emergency, we graduate to martial law. If things don't improve from martial law, we go into mobilization. If things don't improve from mobilization, then we go to war. So a state of emergency is just a sub of that war. We are not at war, actually. So that particular move was meant to achieve a take back. You know, we had to actually make a statement. It had gotten to that level. If we hadn't, probably the aircraft that landed in Kano was meant to come and set up a base there or something.
Okay, how would you also interpret now the work of the Amnesty Committee with all that is going on and the prescription of Boko Haram?
The Boko Haram has been proscribed, and I know there is an Amnesty community working. It's mind-boggling, you know, it doesn't add up, it doesn't make sense. But then I want to look at it as probably a leeway, you know. When you fight an enemy, you don't just corner him entirely or he becomes desperate. Probably the amnesty is a leeway to say, okay, despite all that you've done, we are still waving an olive branch. If you turn a new leaf, there is hope for you. If you won't turn a new leaf, then...
But that's really a tough one, because if that, it's been proscribed, so if they turn a new leaf, what will they be coming to that committee as? Because if they come as members of Boko Haram, well, that committee will then be accused of supporting, that's against the prescription.
Yeah, really, that's what makes it mind-boggling. But you see, when it comes to politics, that happens to be an area of my least competence. Politics
but some of these political policies affect operations.
They affect operations, and that is where I want to encourage our law enforcement and service chiefs to seek the buy-in of their political leaders. We must begin to see the operational implications of certain things. Yes, the decision may be a very good political move to augment one or two interests. But then on the field of operations, what body language will you be? What body language are you? What impression are you creating?
To the soldiers?
Not even to the soldiers, to the international community.
Yeah.
Okay, to the international community. I tell you, there is a way you can actually smile and say something. That you were smiling regardless, people are not going to take it kindly. And there's a way you can actually feel miffed about something. You weren't looking pleasant, but you're going to have the buy-in of everybody. So beyond these policies as they are taken on the table, beyond these decisions as they are made politically, we should be able to see what the other side will see of it. How does it portray you? What signals is it sending out about your intentions? So I say it's mind-boggling because for me it just doesn't add up.
Well, yes. Maybe we'll see if we can get across to them subsequently and find out, look, they should just shed some light on this, because so many people are confused on this.
Exactly.
But what about the fact that this Boko Haram, they say, is an ideology? Because, yes, security forces, what we've done, it's also supposed to be backed up with intelligence. So, yes, taking physical possession, that aggression, taking it to the field. What about that part of an ideology? You need to quell it also.
You see, when they say Boko Haram is an ideology, I wonder what ideology per se? Okay, what ideology? You claim Western education is an aberration or a taboo or something. The bombs you make, how did they come about? If Western education is forbidden, those bombs are forbidden too. We leave that aspect. We go to religion. You say you are propagating Islam. And the way I see it, you are actually not propagating Islam, because any religion, regardless, is for human beings. I've never seen animals with religion. You have to be a human being first before
But they're
you
getting
have
followers in
a
spite
religion.
of these contradictions.
That's the empathy we're talking about, Chamberlain. You see, it's deliberate. Sweeping these things under religion is deliberate, and I'll tell you why. Outside football, I don't see any other institution that has the followership of Christianity or Islam. So if you did something, you had an argument, you lack superior position to propagate your argument. You just harp on the strings of religion, and you're likely to get some form of empathy. And people who are in the other religion may feel, if we move against these guys, we risk bringing about a clash. Why are Boko Haram people, why are other smaller religions not having terrorist cells? It's about empathy. These people lack superior arguments to back their agitations. The only way they can get that followership is to sweep it under religion and do it in God's name. So the empathy, not sympathy, empathy now comes in. By association, people will begin to say these two religions are sensitive. We don't want to take a position that will... And that's what they are thriving on. So the religions must begin to act precisely to denounce this. The moment you can denounce terrorism in the Islamdom effectively, you take the sting out of it.
Are you making success in that area?
No. We are not doing enough. We are not doing enough. And it's still about empathy. Some people feel if I come out and say this against terrorism, people will think it's because I'm a Christian. Some people think, being a Muslim, if I take this position, they may see it as if I'm not supporting the Ummah. But that is not it. Don't forget, I told you, you have to be a human being before you can have any other religion. So if you go killing human beings, who will practice the religion? Do you sell shoes, then you chop legs off and expect people to wear your shoes? So,
interesting.
Exactly. Islam itself is the biggest victim of terrorism.
Unfortunately, we have to let it go there. Interesting perspective, but thank you for coming on.
You're
Retired
welcome.
Captain Aliyu Omar, a security consultant, and we'll be assessing the state of emergency. Well, back in just a moment here.